Hoist the anchor and cast away.
Heave and a hoe and a bottle of rum.
Our ship's on a trip for many a day.
Heave and a hoe and a bottle of rum.
Hoist the mainsail and off we go.
Heave and a hoe and a bottle of rum.
There's sun up above and sharks down below.
Heave and a hoe and a bottle of rum.
It all happened years ago when I was a lad. My name is Jim Hawkins. My mother kept an inn where sailors sometimes stayed. I remember this one old seaman, a tall, strong, heavy man with a pigtail falling over the shoulders of his coat. He came up the path singing,
15 men on a dead man's chest, yo-ho-ho, and a bottle of rum. Drink and the devil had done for the rest, yo-ho-ho, and a bottle of rum.
He took a room at the tavern. Bill Bones was his name. He was a very silent man and would only speak when spoken to. But as I was a boy at the time, I was no danger to him, and he took to talking to me from time to time.
Look here, lad. Here's a 4-penny piece for ye. And there's more of that on the 1st of every month. Now, this is important, lad, mind ye, if you will keep your weather eye open for a seafaring man with one leg. That's a good lad. Oh, 15 men on a dead man's chest, yo-ho-ho, and a bottle of rum. Drink and the devil had done for the rest, yo-ho-ho, and a bottle of rum. Drat. I'm not a well man, Jim, lad. Not well at all.
One day, Bill Bones got a visit from a strange pack of men. They looked like buccaneers and cutthroats, and their visit seemed to put a great fear into him. I could hear them shouting at each other, but the only words I could make out were, "Flint's treasure." There was a big fight among them, and the visitors ran out. It wasn't long after that Mr. Bones had himself a fit and died right there in the tavern. Mother and I searched his belongings, and we found a small packet all wrapped up in oilskins. I thought it best to take it to Dr. Livesey, who was one of the most respected men in town, to see what should be done with it. And while he was opening it, I told him about the men who had visited Mr. Bones. Dr. Livesey became very interested.
You don't say, Jim. You heard them say Flint's treasure. Do you know who Flint was, my lad? I'll tell you. He was the bloodthirstiest buccaneer that ever sailed the seas. Blackbeard was a child compared to Flint. Flint's treasure, they said. Yes, he was reported to have buried a vast treasure somewhere, but he died before anyone could find out where. Well, lad, let's see what Mr. Billy Bones had in his packet.
The doctor opened it, and inside were just two things, a book and a piece of paper.
Let's try the book first. It lists sums of money and dates alongside each entry. And after every sum of money, there's another entry, as if he were adding it all up as he went along. You know what I think, Jim, my lad? I think your man, Billy Bones, was one of Flint's men. Yes, these sums must be his share of booty, and the dates he got them. Now, what's this piece of paper? Let's see. My word, it's a map. See here, Jim, it looks like the map of an island with latitude and longitude and the names of hills. And see here, it shows where to anchor a ship close to the island so one can get ashore.
I asked the doctor what he made of it all.
Make of it? Jim, don't you see? This must be a map to where Flint buried his treasure. It all fits. Those men who visited Billy Bones in your tavern, I'll bet they were after this map. Why, if we found the treasure, we'd all be rich. Jim, my lad, I'm going to get a ship's crew together. You can be my cabin boy. And we're going to set sail and see if we can find this treasure ourselves.
The doctor told 2 or 3 of his close friends, swearing them to secrecy about the plan. He asked one of the men, Squire Trelawney, to journey to Bristol, the seaport, to get a ship and crew. It was a few days later that a letter came to the doctor.
A letter? From Bristol? Let's see. From Trelawney. Jim, my lad, let's see what progress he reports. Dear Livesey, I have bought and fitted a fine schooner. It is called Hispaniola, and it lies at anchor ready for sea. I have engaged a Captain Smollett, a fine seafaring man. I had trouble at first rounding up a crew for her until I had the most remarkable stroke of fortune. Good fortune, Jim, my lad. Let's see what it was. Where was I? This letter of his. Oh, yes. I was standing on the dock when I happened to strike up a conversation with an old sailor. I told him about the treasure. He volunteered to help me get a crew and said that he himself would go along as ship's cook. Oh, Jim, a ship's cook, that's a good start. There's more to Trelawney's letter. Let's see. Yes. I engaged the man immediately. His name is Long John Silver, and the poor fellow has lost one leg. Silver helped me put together the rest of the crew. They're the toughest-looking old salts imaginable. Not pretty to look at, but strong-spirited men, I am sure. We await you in Bristol so that we may all set sail soon. Your friend, John Trelawney. Well, my lad, that is progress. We'll gather our friends and set out for Bristol on the morrow.
We got to Bristol, where soon, with provisions and a crew, we prepared to set sail upon our voyage. It was all new and interesting to me, especially the men pulling on the ropes to haul up the sails. And there, leading the work with a sea chanty, was the ship's cook himself, Long John Silver, with one leg, holding himself up with a wooden crutch. He began with a song I had come to know so well.